This is Tyler Shepard. The views I'm about to express are of my own and not of any other entity. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Open Arms, an honest conversation about firearms. Hey everyone, I'm your host Brian Lockerman. How you doing over there, Nikki?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Hey Nikki, here's one thing that we really haven't tapped into, and that is learning a lot of medical things like using a tourniquet, CPR. You know, if when we're on set, you're doing live fires, you know we have EMT. But there's a lot of days when we're up there for classes and just on our personal recreation, we should really learn this stuff. Now, Nikki, do you know CPR?
I don't.
You don't. So what you're saying is if I go down and I'm with
You're
you,
screwed.
I'm a dead man, huh?
You're screwed.
Have you ever had any type of like training on like,
No, not the tourniquet. CPR a long time ago. But
Okay.
I'm not trained.
Yeah.
I don't have a certificate. No.
Yeah, I got training 2 years ago. I got a certificate, but it's been a while. I think we have to revisit it. I think that's something we should actually offer at our studio is courses like that. And today on my show, I have Tyler Shepard. Tyler, thank you for coming aboard the show.
Glad to be here.
Can you tell a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I was in the Air Force for about 7.5 years doing this specialty job called pararescue. Not a whole lot of people know about it. In the military, people do. They usually compare us to Navy SEALs, but we have a different mission set. We're a rescue. So in special operations, what we bring to that small team aspect is technical rescue specialists is what we call it. So you could almost compare us to firefighters with a wider skill set. So we're really good at extrication, so opening up vehicles that have been like flipped over and people stuck inside, aircrafts, and we're actually really good with ropes as well. So somebody falls inside a ditch and whatnot, we're really skilled with that.
So is that not something you have to get a lot of training for, right? And like I was just talking to Nikki about, obviously CPR, a tourniquet, bleeding, neck injuries, things like that. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, we are nationally certified paramedics, and we have a wider scope than a regular paramedic because we're the highest level of care as we would be in the field. So we're trained to handle a very serious patient for up to 72 hours. So
Oh wow.
we can also do chest tubes, give antibiotics, do suturing. The emergency cricothyrotomy, so
Really?
those types of pretty invasive skills.
So then I'd rather have you around me when I go down than Nikki, right?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I do a lot of training to civilian population as well as
Oh, you do?
military. Yep. And in that training, I teach just the regular layperson how to be effective at preventing death in those types of situations. So.
See, I think that'd be a really good thing to offer because we just tend not to think about that. And in certain, especially us doing, we're a gun show and we do a lot of live fire. We have classes, training classes. Not only that, what if you're in a car accident? What if something like that, God forbid, or even an accident at the home?
Yep.
It'd be good to know that. Maybe someone has an accident in your swimming pool to know CPR.
Yep.
I think that's good for everybody to really take note and take courses in that.
For sure. And when it comes to these types of courses, like I know because I'm in this field, not a lot actually address this in the whole perspective. Some will be just a CPR class, or others will be only a combat trauma class. The course that I give is actually I address everything like based on the data. So I approach all preventable death that happens. In majority of people under the age of 45, they're all preventable. And the average person can actually stop this from happening by just doing really simple interventions before 911 gets there. Because if it's a true life-threatening emergency, even if you call 911, by the time 911 gets there, the person is probably going to be dead if it's a true life threat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let me just back up a little bit. You said people that are 45 and under, they'll be saved. And a guy like me that might be a couple notches above 45, I'm done.
No, so you'd probably be in that category as well, because once you get past 45 years old, the data is usually going to be heart disease, what's killing you, or cancer.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yeah, and all my like training that I give, I actually give the actual data of what's the leading causes of death for people in those age groups, and I teach people how to stop that. And a lot of those are really basic interventions like hemorrhage control, airway maneuvers, all things that you don't need any special skills, you don't need any special training, no special equipment or anything, just stuff that person can do.
This is fantastic. I never knew this. Nikki, what do you think? I mean, this would be great for us to offer this at our whole
Yeah.
all of our programs.
We do the gun safety training. We're up for the Second Amendment because the police aren't going to get there in time, so we do that to defend ourselves. And it's the same thing. Like the paramedics might not get there in time,
Definitely.
so it's good to know.
Yep. Yeah, and actually with that, while people are listening, there's a lot of myths surrounding that, and I address that as well. Some people think like, hey, I don't want to help someone because I might get sued. But actually, California has a really good state when it comes to protections. So up until 2008, you were 100% protected as long as you were doing your best in medical care and it wasn't grossly negligent. Even since 2008, even if it's non-medical care and somebody gets injured under your care, so to speak, you're still protected.
That's good to know.
Yes.
That really is. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, so you'd be 100% protected as long as you're not doing anything grossly negligent. So if you actually read the wording of it, I can text you guys the actual health and safety code. I don't have it memorized, but basically the reason they even addressed it this aggressively was in 2008, some friends were driving home. This girl, I think, was drinking. She ran her car into a tree. And basically, her friend thought the car was smoking and on fire, and she grabbed the driver out of the driver's seat, pulled her out, and she happened to have a broken neck. From it was more likely, the data has shown that it's actually not from the person handling the patient; it's from the actual impact of the initial traumatic incident. But nonetheless, they tried to sue her, and now there's additional protection. So, because the person didn't even do any medical care, all the person did was remove them from the vehicle.
Oh, wow.
Everyone is very, very highly protected. Like the only chance you would get of potentially having a lawsuit would be like gross negligence. For example, let's say you pull someone out of a vehicle, leaving them in an open roadway, and then walk away.
Oh, okay.
So the average person is super duper protected. There's no worry.
That's
of
good.
that.
That's good to know. Very good to know. Awesome. Okay, so now is this something? Do you have a program where people can find you to sign up for these courses?
Yes. So I'm actually in the process of combining my brands. My initial brand that I think you've had Russell on, he went to one of my courses, and that was emergency readiness training.
Okay.
So now it's actually going to become Snafu Readiness. So I have a T-shirt brand. This is actually one of my T-shirts.
I love it. Love them.
Yeah. So this is Snafu Swag. So you can find it on snafuswag.com. They're all really high quality shirts. This is Bella and Canva. So yeah, just really good material. And I'm actually going to combine the brands. So it'll be Snafu Swag. Snafu Readiness is everything related to emergency medical training,
Nice.
firearms, and then also disaster prep and survival skills. And I'm also a level 1 survival instructor.
Beautiful. Nikki, you'll definitely put all that stuff up on the feed, right?
Yeah, everything will be listed in the description.
So people can find you for that.
Awesome, thank you.
That's good to know. Very good to know. I'd like to talk to you more too. After we're done with the show, about possibly doing some programs here.
Yeah, I'd be happy
at
to.
the studio. It'd be fantastic.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's go to your training in guns. Now you do gun training as well. Now is it safety training or is it just what is it exactly?
Yeah, so I address everything starts with safety because
Beautiful.
when it comes to firearms, if you're going to be handling them the way I think everyone should approach it, and I think most well-trained and well-experienced firearms users would agree that it kind of follows this path. Like the first foundation is safety. After somebody has safety down, then it would go to efficiency. And once they have efficiency down, then they can add aggression. But it is that progress. You can't be aggressive without having safety down. Otherwise, you're a liability to yourself and your team. So that's why it kind of builds from there. So that's the process I do, and then I do one-on-one instruction as well.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I like that about the safety, and that's what our show's all about. We focus so much on that gun safety thing,
Really
the
important.
importance of it, and the podcast too. We talk about that as well with a lot of our guests on the show too. And again, that's our purpose. We want to keep people safe. Keep people safe. There's no accidents, and then we don't need you to come rescue us, right? We've been actually, believe it or not, getting some really, really nice emails from people that have actually listened to us and took that step to get safety training. And they are now much safer with that firearm in their house.
Yes, it's really important. The average person has horrible habits. Like I know because I teach firearms and I'm among them, and I work with people who don't have a lot of experience with them. A lot of this, if you just watch the average Hollywood movie all the time, you see people breaking one of the most important rules is the easiest one to break, and that's finger on the trigger.
Finger on the
so-
trigger. Yep.
So I see you nodding, and you're aware of that. So.
I know it. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's great. All good stuff. You know, you teaching that as your first step, and that's what we do as well. That's fantastic. So now, are you enlisting? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. So my contract ended about a year and a half ago, and I was looking to go from full-time active duty to part-time, either National Guard or Reserve. But I was unable to join because I did not take the COVID vaccine. But since they dropped the mandate, yeah, it's available to me again, and I'm excited to serve it once more. So
Good for you for standing up.
Yep.
Seriously, good for you.
important.
You got an applaud over there.
Yeah. Hey, we held the line.
That's
You
it.
did.
It's
That's
important.
it.
It was really important.
That's it.
It was very lonely though at first.
It was.
I felt very alone.
But if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have that chance to express your courage. You know,
that's true,
and that's
yes.
really important.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good deal. Very good. Well, I mean, I really, really thank you for your service. I mean, seriously. I mean, you because you do this for our country, right?
Yeah, I love our country.
Love our country,
Yep.
and you want our country back to where it was.
Yes.
Correct.
Mhm.
We're trying to do anything we can in our power to help people. And to me, it's about knowledge. It's about. I swear to God, you ask people questions and they have no idea.
Mhm.
I'm talking about like the other side.
Yeah.
You know, and you tell them things, and we've actually been waking up a lot of people.
Mhm.
We've actually been making a difference.
Definitely.
You know.
No, it's cool. I really think it's important to talk to the other side and just anything in life, but especially when it comes to politics. So there's both sides have blind spots, and
They do.
educating the people on their blind spots can help us come together and really live, because we all want to live in a fair and just society. Nobody wants to live in a tyrannical government.
I know.
And those who are usually more for these tyrannical measures, they're generally unaware of history. And just by kind of expressing like, hey, like this is important to preserve, and if you understand things this way, then the person will actually open their mind. Like I had a conversation with someone just a couple of weeks ago. You know, she asked me, why would somebody need an AR? And I said, like, me personally, or just why is the Second Amendment like essential to preserve that type of firearm? And then she's like, well, I guess both. And then when you think about what the Second Amendment is and why we even have it as number 2 right after the First Amendment, it's all about preserving the rights. The Constitution was made to have a balance of power between the people and the government. And
There you go.
And once you help them understand that, then they realize, oh, that's a good point. It's like, hey, are governments to have a tendency to lean towards tyrannical, like worldwide? It's like, yes, we know that. History has shown that. And we have a country that is so significant and so amazing, and one of the best countries, and probably the best country that's ever existed. And it's mostly because the Constitution is what has allowed us to come into what we are now.
Amen. You said it right, brother. That's right. And going back to you, like the person asked you about the AR-15 question, we get that a lot too. We get that a lot too about a lot of these people that have been anti-gun and, you know, why have the Second Amendment and things like that. Well, we sit down and we talk to them and we train them and we show them the importance, and they finally wake up. And that's what we like seeing. We like seeing that side doing that. Now, I had one incident. I actually told this story on another show too. This is a crazy one. We had a class of 8, and they're on a break in the classroom, and I heard a guy talking to the group, and he was telling them how he wants to get rid of the Pledge of Allegiance, get rid of the national anthem, no more teaching American history in school, let them teach about current events, about them, they, them, thou, or whatever, all that kind of crap like that. So he's telling us to the group. So I was eavesdropping, you know, and I had to I bite my tongue, but I said, no, I gotta step in. Yeah. So I walked over and I said to the guys, hey, I got a question for you. So you want to get rid of the Pledge of Allegiance? That's right, we don't need that. And the national anthem, no more the sporting events. Yeah, no more national anthem. And no more teaching our kids American history about the amendments and how important they are. No, we just need to get rid of all the amendments. So wait, it gets better. I go, okay, what are you doing here? I'm getting trained to learn how to shoot my gun. Really? Do you know why you're able to do that? It's called the Second Amendment. Okay? And then you know what he said to me? Well, I'm not going to go shoot up a movie theater or a mall like some of these other people will. I said, oh, so you're okay, but they're not. It's that mentality, right?
Yeah, totally.
It just blows my mind sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think like asking questions, I think, is really important. And and just even also addressing that, hey, they have a valid concern. Like, it sucks that shootings happen. Like,
Yeah.
car accidents happen. Drunk driving is a leading cause of death. It kills way more people than any of firearms per year. You can just look this up. CDC data. I know this data because I actually teach this type of stuff. But when you understand the valid concerns, but you compare it to the actual reality of the situation, and you have to pick and choose. It's like everything in life, So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't blame the car for the accident,
No.
right?
yeah.
But they blame the gun.
Yeah, what are you going to go after the alcohol companies for selling alcohol? I mean,
Exactly.
it's kind of what they're doing with the gun companies. So.
That's always been the biggest argument, They always attack the gun companies, and it's always the gun. It's the gun. It's the type of gun. No, it's not. It's the individual. And that's where the problem lies. And that's where we have to address the problem.
100%.
We are working with a company called Walk the Talk America about the mental health issue and gun ownership. Again, there's the problem. These kids being grown up playing these video games and not having parent, conversations with their mom and dad and sitting down at a family dinner. No, they're playing their video games, and they think that's what life is all about. And that's what we're trying to change too. We got family values is such a big thing in our project as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Dialogue is really essential.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Now you had a little bag you brought with you. What is that little bag you brought?
Yeah, so this is the med kits I sell in my courses. So if you look at a lot of med kits online, you can tell a lot of them people design them. They don't have a lot of experience actually doing medical interventions in an actual emergency situation. So if I had a true emergency situation, let's say as a major hemorrhage right now, or an airway issue or something of that sort, would it make sense for me to have like flashlights and, whistles and, bells and whistles? It basically becomes in that situation more junk in the way.
Yeah.
And people will buy this like, oh, it has 86 items, not knowing that 90% of those items are just going to be more chaos in this situation. You don't want any more chaos. So the way I design these kits, they're for the level of training of the people that I give my training to. And yeah, so that's basically it. So it basically handles all the life threats. So major hemorrhage, airway issue, and then potentially if you're going to be like hiking or something somewhere that you could help get the person out of that situation.
Now, is this something you designed yourself?
Yes.
Okay, so would like someone like Nikki or I, would we benefit by having this pack, or is it to
100%.
Oh, we're really
Yep.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's all like everything that's designed is from someone who actually has experience working in emergency medicine. So, for example, if major hemorrhage is the leading, like if that is going to be the most urgent, imminent threat in some type of emergency situation, because you could bleed out and die within 3 minutes in that type of situation. Would it make sense to have my tourniquet anywhere else other than the outside pouch where I can easily grab and just pull out?
Oh, nice, very nice.
So once you understand these principles, you can design a kit that way that's most functional for that emergency situation.
Now, do you sell them individual, like by itself, or you just sell them for your clients?
Yeah, I'm actually not selling them online yet.
Okay.
But yes, in my courses, you can go to them and then you'll learn how to use everything in the kit. And then from the course, I usually sell. I almost sell out every course that I
Wow,
make.
this is good stuff. I love it.
Yeah, and it's also really high quality equipment. So there's only a couple tourniquets that are actually approved by the committee of TCCC. So TCCC stands for Tactical Combat Casualty Care. They are the leaders in emergency trauma. So the reason we even give blood now in the hospital is because all the experience we experience in the military, and we're driving all the data, all the protocols when it comes to that type of stuff. So the tourniquets that are used are all approved by the committee that basically runs that whole show when it comes to emergency medicine.
Very interesting. I love it. Yeah, I definitely want to talk to you more about getting you involved with us here.
Definitely.
And these type of classes I think are very essential. I don't know why we didn't think of this back in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's really important. It's awesome for people to even be motivated to this type of stuff, because it shows this person actually wants to be more of a helper and protector in an emergency situation, where a lot of people can almost become apathetic.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've seen videos of people walking past emergency situations, and it's really really bad. Americans should not have apathy for your fellow American. So
That's true.
yeah, or just even fellow human being for that matter.
Yeah, no, that is true. That's true. Well, that's awesome stuff. I mean, I really do. Now, when are you going to be re-enlisting?
So I'll be probably in November. I'll be back to a unit doing some training.
Oh, very nice. Very cool. But you're based out here in California, right?
Yeah, so I'm going to be a part-time reservist, but yeah, I live in California and in Tucson. So I was based in Tucson, so I have a house there that I rent out, and then I also train military in Tucson. So
Very nice. Awesome. Awesome stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, this is good, right, Nikki? We definitely want to bring this as part of our
Yeah,
whole.
very important. I think it's very important.
It really is. It really is. I love what you're doing, and whenever Russell's telling me, I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. We have not had that conversation yet, and that's an important one. And I can't believe we haven't had it till right now.
yeah, no, it is. It's yeah, those who are interested in progressing usually get pretty drawn to it. So
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so people can go on your website. They can find your T-shirts.
yep.
They can also find your pack, right?
Yes, they can't purchase it on the website.
On the
but yes.
website, but can you learn about it on the website?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I have pictures of it. I think I used to, but since I'm not selling online, I don't. But yeah, you could go to emergencyreadinesstraining.com or just ERT-123.com, and you can reach out to me there to set up some courses. But soon that website will change. You guys
Okay.
could probably put it in the description, but soon it'll be Snafu Readiness.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd advise everybody to go check that out. And seriously, just getting a little bit of this type of training could actually save a life someday.
Definitely.
You just never know. You never know what's going to happen.
Definitely. No, I mean, I'm sure we know people in the past couple of years, there's people die, and, the leading cause of death in our age group, like 35 to 25, is actually overdoses.
Oh, I can
So-
see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So opiate overdoses is a leading cause of death in the poisoning age category. And a lot of those is actually just being able to recognize what's happening. So when it comes to opiates, if you just see that the pinpoint pupils, so if you open their eyes and you see their pupils are very, very, very small, and then you could confirm what's going on by a very, very slow respiratory rate.
Really?
So yes, if you go ahead and assess their breathing, you count to 5,000, so 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. You don't even get one respiration. That means they are not breathing enough. And yeah, obviously call 911 should be one of the first things you do. But next, you need to open their airway and do some rescue breaths for them. The other acceptable method is going to be compression only. So it's not actually for the heart, because the heart will still be beating, likely in that situation, but the compression creates a ventilation, because as you push down on the chest and release, that creates that negative pressure, and then it allows that ventilation to happen so the brain can get oxygen.
That's actually really good to know. I mean, you're right with all the abusive drug things that are going on right now. To know that, 'cause it happens everywhere.
Yeah, I know just 2 people in the past year who have died from overdoses. So,
Really?
yes, it's pretty
Sorry to hear
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good stuff. I'm really glad you brought this to our attention.
Yeah.
It opened my eyes. What about you, Nikki?
Yeah, I don't know why we never thought. I think we're kind of trying to prevent it from happening because we're all
Yeah.
about safety.
Uh-huh.
So we didn't think about, well, it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
it's not just about shooting a gun. It's also everything in every walk of life, from a swimming pool accident to a car accident to falling down the stairs or whatever, or someone overdosing, like you said. Knowing to be able to prevent this and save a life could be a great thing.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's funny that you put that category with the firearms, because I 100% agree that the firearms are not a killing tool. Like, yes, killing happens when used sometimes, but it's actually a life-saving tool, because when you think about if you're actually using a firearm as you're supposed to, that means you're put in a situation where it is legitimately imminent, where you're having to choose between your life or another innocent party.
That's correct.
That's among you, and you're not actually shooting to kill. You're shooting to end that threat. Sometimes the person may die, and that's okay, because they put you in that situation, and you weren't intending to kill them. You were just intending to save your life for this other innocent party. So it's really important for people to understand that that's what firearms are for. They're literally, you've been forced into a situation where this person who's probably violent, and this is probably not the first time they've done this, and they're forcing you to choose between your life and theirs.
There you go. Well said. That's correct. That's great. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
And it's funny because we talk about being safe at the range and everything like that. And we have our safety. our NRA certified instructors and like that. We have EMT when we're filming, things like that. And the funny thing is, I think you have more of a chance of getting hurt driving up to the range than you do at the range.
It's
You know what I mean?
100% true. 100%
Because
true.
we take safety in such a really, big way up there.
Yeah.
You know?
No, definitely. Firearms users are some of the safest and law-abiding citizens, and if you don't believe me, you just got to get in the culture. They're very, very safe and law-abiding.
Exactly. There you go. I know. That's what we're trying to teach people. We're trying to change that image of a gun owner. I mean, it just the media taints it. The people just,
Like it's negative.
yeah, they make it such a stupid hickabilly type thing.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, especially in California, because you have to jump through a lot of hoops, become a gun owner, and I actually, a lot of people will be on different sides of this, but I'm all for training. Like people should get training. Like that's a tool that requires responsibility, and if you're going to use it, you need to be well trained on it.
I agree 100% on that. Yeah. And that again, that's why I'm pushing this whole issue. That's why I got the show. That's why I'm doing the podcast.
Well, that's with anything. Awesome. Like you have to go through driving school to get your driver's license.
Exactly. Yep.
It's the same. You have to have training to use a firearm.
No, for sure. I agree. And maybe that's a way that we can concede moving forward because, you got both sides of the spectrum who can have their extremes, but I mean, it is a tool that requires a lot of responsibility. If we want to preserve that, I think because you have some situations that people will be irresponsible or even, have some malintent, maybe having some checks to ensure that we preserve this is potentially acceptable.
Yeah.
But I think people should remember that does not at any means mean that we are going to give up that right or make it limited in how much or how wide that right is. It's just the process getting there. It should be streamlined, but it should be efficient and effective. So
100%. That's our motto, and what you just said is what we believe in. That was fantastic.
That's awesome.
I love it, man. Well, listen, I like everything you're doing. I really respect that. I respect what you're doing, and thank you for your services for our country as well, and doing the things you're doing on the sidelines with your T-shirt company, the bags, your training. It is just fantastic, and I want to keep this relationship going. I definitely want to incorporate you more in our programs as well.
Awesome, definitely. Hey, so can I at least leave something before we
go?
Oh yeah.
This
is all day.
This is all for the listeners as well. So when it comes to emergency medicine and just survival skills, all these types of things, you might see a lot of just advice that's not really coming from a place of expertise. And I always like to tell people, like, hey, make sure what you're learning is either self-evident or you can find out the truth yourself. So in all the training I give, I like to have the approach of first be able to be effective without a piece of gear and then use gear to make things easier. So when it comes to tourniquets, people need to understand that you don't need a tourniquet to stop a bleed, okay? So, I'll see some people like, gun rages or whatever, you'll hear them say like, I never leave the hospital without a tourniquet. I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad you're responsible that way. But if you knew how to stop a bleed without a tourniquet, you wouldn't need that tourniquet as like your lifeline to stop bleed. So something that everyone can just reproduce on their own is just understanding how a tourniquet actually works. So when a tourniquet is applied to a limb, it does circumferential pressure around the entire arm, for example. The only part that actually matters is the brachial artery, which is right below the bicep. So if everyone were to just take their fingers and push it below their bicep right now, you should feel a little bit of a pulse. Okay, that pulse is your heart squeezing. As your heart squeezes, the pressure in your artery goes up. Let's say it goes up to 120 millimeters of mercury. So that'd be like a normal textbook blood pressure, like 120 over 80. 80 is the diastolic. That's the pressure that stays in the artery. So in order to stop that hemorrhage, so let's say my hand got blown off right now or super gnarly hemorrhage, it got, amputated, something like that. For me to just stop the bleed effectively, if I didn't have a tourniquet, all I had to do is just press my thumb up against my artery. So, and it can all be confirmed with yourself. That's why I said you should use something known as what's self-evident. So if you were to feel my radial pulse right now, you can feel this. Yep. Do you feel it beating? So do you mind going beat when you feel it beating? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you want to give an audio showing that you can. Okay.
Beep, 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 beep. It's slowing down.
Do you feel it still?
Oh yeah, I feel it. It's slow. It's gone
Okay, tell me when you feel it again.
right now. Gone. Right now. Gone.
Yeah,
Dude,
so that's something that everyone
that's
can
crazy.
do, and I do these in my seminars because if your hand initially just had that hemorrhage happening, you don't have a tourniquet on you. If you don't know how to stop it, this is a really effective way to stop hemorrhage on yourself.
Wow.
So
I got a quick question about the tourniquet thing too.
Yeah.
Isn't it also, if you do it wrong, you could also maybe lose a limb because of it? Is that true
Yeah.
or no?
No, yeah. So I'm glad you asked that question. So yeah, that's really important to understand. So yes, it is possible using a tourniquet after a certain amount of time that you can lose a limb. So for the regular civilian context, you wouldn't have to really worry about that.
Yeah.
Because the upper limit of it actually doing that would be like 6 hours according to our protocols. And that's just based on a lot of data. That's not just a shot in the dark at all. The minimum limit is 2 hours. So basically from 2 to 6 hours, you're not going to basically lose a limb. So if you have it less than 2 hours, you're 100% certain that you're not going to lose a limb. So if you get a tourniquet on, let's say you're out backpacking or something like that, just look at a tourniquet as a way of like, hey, I'm going to handle this problem later.
Yeah.
So, because eventually you want to convert it to what's called a pressure dressing, and it's easy. And if you can only remember one thing when it comes to this podcast and controlling hemorrhage, pressure stops bleeding.
Dude, that was really cool what he showed me. That really works.
Yep. Yeah, and you can just and just practice this and teach this to other people because if you teach it, you're gonna retain it more. And you'll be able to actually see your effectiveness to it. So if you remember, it's like, hey, it's right below the bicep. You can feel that artery. Just take your thumb, press it right up against it really hard, and you'll feel the artery stop. So
that was nice. Okay, well, here's the deal then. You're going to be hanging out with me more often than Nikki because I think you'll be able to save me.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you guys are awesome. Like, I like your shirt that you got. That's really cool. We're all doing really cool stuff. So I'll be happy to come back and love to hang out with you guys some more.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Tyler. We'll talk more about different things, trying to get a program going here as well.
Definitely.
Again, I thank you for everything you're doing, and thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for showing me stuff like this. This has been a very interesting show, right, Nikki?
Yeah, it's very cool. I was thinking maybe when we're done, if you have time, maybe we can do like
I got time. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Do a
I was
little
thinking we
Instagram?
could do like an Instagram reel about what you just showed. Or I don't know. We'll think of something we can do.
It's a great idea. It's actually on my Instagram emergency readiness training. I did a video a couple weeks ago about how to address overdoses.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it applies to benzodiazepines and opiates, which are in the poisoning category. They're the leading causes of death, and they're really easy solutions. It's basically you need to help the person breathe. So those two drug classes, the reason that people die or they get serious brain damage is because they're not breathing enough. So it gets the body almost so relaxed that the respiratory rate gets really decreased. Once the respiratory rate gets decreased, the blood is not getting oxygen enough, and then the brain's not getting the oxygen. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, no, but all about spreading the awareness. It's really important. This is all stuff we should be learning in school.
You know what? I agree with you right there. That should be something that we should be teaching our kids.
Yeah.
And throughout the years in school.
Yep. Yeah, and if our school system's not doing, that's where we come in.
Yeah. Our school system, what are they doing?
Who knows what they're
these days?
teaching them?
Yeah, it's definitely. We need to be more active in that. But it's cool that I've seen I've been a pretty big Ron Paul supporter when I was back in like 2008, and back then I didn't really see a whole lot of other Americans really beating that freedom drum. But since COVID, I've never seen more Americans actually getting back to our roots, being pro-Constitution, limited government, fan of the Bill of Rights and whatnot.
That was a serious wake-up call we experienced.
Took
For sure.
the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. We probably needed it to wake us up.
Definitely. Yeah, I was just talking about it with someone recently. Like, who knows what is going on? It might just be a random, different interests getting together, whether it be big pharma and the government and people getting paid off. And, we know there's a revolving door policy where FDA official then works for Pfizer and vice versa.
Yeah.
Or let's say there would be something else involved. But nonetheless, it seems like the hand was overplayed and it woke a lot of people up. I don't foresee this type of things happening again.
Never.
I don't think
Never.
so.
Well, we won't stand for it.
Yeah.
All right. Again, Tyler, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. This is a great and awesome show.
Yeah, thank you for what you're
Is there
doing.
anything else you want to
guys,
share?
yeah, I mean, just whatever you guys want to talk about. But I mean, we can share more on another show too. Like,
Absolutely. I'll have you back.
yeah,
I will.
no, that'd be cool. You guys are great energy. I love what you guys are doing. This is like beautiful studio. Love the American flag here, and this is a great place.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
Definitely.
Again, Tyler, amazing show. Yeah. Nikki will definitely put up all your contacts so people can find you. And I really do stress people to go find this guy.
Everything will be listed, so you can just click it on the description box.
Awesome, sweet.
Yeah,
and for those clicking, the shirts are ready, and I'm going to have a lot more shirts soon, but it's going to be all one brand. So, just expect that there'll be some transitions happening. But, even if you get on emergency readiness training right now, you'll see it'll switch to SNAP food readiness as well. But, yeah, good stuff. So
very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, thanks again, Tyler. It's been a pleasure. All right, Nikki.
Very informative show. I loved it.
Oh, my God.
Awesome.
Fantastic. I learned more on this show than I've learned in a long time. I'll tell you that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was great. All right, Nikki, why don't you tell people where they can find us?
You can find Open Arms on Instagram, openarms.tv, or you can go to our website, openarms.tv, and you can see all of our social media. And if you have any questions for Tyler or for Brian or for the show, you can send us a tweet at openarmsdt.
Beautiful. That's our show for today. And always remember, safety, family, and the Second Amendment. Have a good day.
Love it.